we'll take a look at the New York Metros. And not a whole lot to talk about with the Mets, but some Gold Glove snubs. To me, Gold Glove Award is officially dead after these Metros were snubbed. There's a lot of chatter about trading for Shohei Ohtani. Look at some trade proposals there. There's talk about stay or go with a bunch of players. Chris Bassitt might be the top stay or go. That might be the most in limbo. There's also some discussion about deGrom not being as popular before the 22 season as he was, or after the 22 season. After the 22, I can't wait for 2022 to be over because I don't know how to freaking say it. There, I said it. 2022. Jacob deGrom not being as popular after the 2022 season as he was before. There you go. And then the New York Yankees are making excuses. Not that I give a shit. But all right, so we'll briefly talk about the Mets. Not gonna lie, this postseason, I'm allergic to baseball. I think I'm just allergic to baseball. I can't do postseason baseball at this point. I try to get it. I throw it on the iPad once in a while, but it's just I maybe would have tuned in more if the Padres had pulled it out and gone to the World Series because I'd like to see them beat either the Astros or the Yankees, but of course they lose. They lose and the Phillies win in such dramatic, huge, clutch fashion where it's Bryce Harper and Rhys Hoskins, or they're all going deep and big, huge clutch hits and all that shit. And it's just it's hard for me. I follow these accounts on Twitter that show you, highlights from previous Mets playoffs. And I can't even watch those. I can't even enjoy those because I'm just so still butthurt over how the season ended. Just completely butthurt. And this is going to be a while for me to bounce back from as a Mets fan. I know a lot of fans I saw were very positive and putting a positive spin on everything. At least we got 100 wins and trying to put a nice bow on the season and looking ahead to the 23 season. It's tough for me. It's tough for me to kind of get in that right headspace to be all right, well, we're right there for next season. It feels like we had the opportunities to seize the moment and make this because it was such a magical season. You think about all the come from behind wins, all the 1-win games that we won, extra inning games that we won. You think about all that we did and everything combined no hitter. It was so many great moments, so many highlights and magical moments come from all it was adding up to a magical season where we have it felt like 86 all over again. It was just we're gonna have some crazy wins in the playoffs and all that, and just to fall completely flat in the final week to 2 weeks, and then in the playoffs, it was just it just completely took the wind out of my sails to the point now where I don't know what it would take. This is how bad it is now. I don't know what it'd take for me to get excited and happy and positive about the Mets next season. It really is going to take for me to get to, it's really going to be September 2023, October 2023. If we win and look good in those months, that's what's going to get me into a better headspace as a Mets fan. If we get off to another hot start, if we go up by 10.5 games in the division, if any of that happens, it's going to be okay. It's just, it's hard for me to not think that given what happened this past season. It's hard for me to wipe the slate clean and be well, that was last season's team. This is this season's team. That's not going to happen again. You got to move on, Neal. Get some closure. I would have said that the Mets had a really good shot to sign Aaron Judge. And now I'm seeing that I saw a quote from somewhere that the San Francisco Giants are going to outbid everyone, and they guarantee they will outbid everyone to get Aaron Judge. All right. So now you have to think, is this a smokescreen where probably not going to happen? They're just saying that to drive up the price so that they can go after some other free agent that they were worried about not being able to afford. But Aaron Judge as a San Francisco Giant, interesting, dude. Very interesting. Would I rather have Aaron Judge or Shohei Ohtani? Because there's a lot of talk about trading for Shohei Ohtani. And I would say, Ohtani gives you a little more versatility, does he not? He can pitch and he can hit. And he's a great pitcher, and he's a great hitter. So in my head, I would lean towards Ohtani because there are stretches where, and you saw it with Judge in the playoffs, especially against Houston, where he went cold. And that happens with not just Judge, but with the Yankees, where they are so home run happy, and a lot of their offense is predicated on power and slugging. And it's like when they don't do that, they don't win games. And that's why I think a lot of people felt so good about the friggin' Mets, is because they weren't winning games by the home run. There were times, yeah, sure, and Petey Polar Bear put up some great numbers in terms of slugging. But the rest of that lineup, with the exception of maybe Lindor, Escobar, they weren't hitting a ton of home runs. They were just manufacturing runs. And so that's why I thought they had a really decent chance at putting together a long playoff run. For me to feel good about the 2023 season, the 22 postseason would have been, we win 2 of 3 from the Padres. We advance. We play the Braves. Is that how it would have gone? Or the Dodgers. And like, if we lost in 7 to the Dodgers, it would have sucked, but I would have felt better. Losing 2 of 3 to the Padres in the wild card round does not, that's like the worst possible way to end it. Other than getting swept. If we got swept, I'd have been like, fuck, I quit baseball. I can't do baseball anymore. I'm just glad we got at least 1 of 3 against the Padres. But I think for me to have the level of confidence to feel better about 23, we would have had to make a deeper run than we did, dude. We just had to. So yeah, I'd probably opt to trade for Shohei Ohtani. But I also think that if they trade for Ohtani, you almost have to think that deGrom probably not going to stick around. Maybe not. I don't know. But that would be a pretty sweet rotation. Ohtani, Scherzer or deGrom, Bassitt, Walker, because I don't want Carrasco to come back. Sorry. The Gold Glove, I know that made the rounds, that news. I can't believe that the Mets got snubbed like they did. Like Lindor not getting a nod, Guillorme not getting a nod, McNeil not getting a nod. I mean, there was a stretch where McNeil and Guillorme were making a highlight play on defense every friggin' week, multiple times a week. Nimmo not getting a nod is banana land. I think he had his best season as the defensive center fielder. Made more than a few clutch catches, especially a game-saving home run robbery. And yet, Tomas Nido is our nomination as a Golden Glove, which kudos to Nido. I think that's great, but it just makes me think that like I can't take the Gold Glove seriously or any of those friggin' awards, dude. It's all rigged. Chris Bassitt, stay or go. I know that was a question posed by SNY, and I know that's on a lot of people's minds. And to be honest, it's really hard for me to get on board with this dude after he talks that talk and then can't walk the walk. Purposely messing with hitters, or at the very least, the perception is that you're accidentally messing with hitters, and then you get messed with and you lose. Like that's hard to swallow. So it's like, I love the tenacity, the intensity, but again, I have this sour taste in my mouth. It's like recency bias. Like you came up well short of what we needed when we needed you most. You talked about playing in the New York market, and then you're not up to snuff. So it's like, I'm almost kind of willing to move on. But then again, we talked about this before, the level of pitching or the available pitching that's out there it's not really exactly appetizing. And then someone tweeted this out. I don't even know who did this survey or what the survey is from, so it could be complete fake news, but popularity of Mets players, like deGrom was one of the most popular before the 22 season, and then he's like among the least popular after the 22 season. And dude, it's understandable. It is. How many times I love the guy, and I know there's a contingency of deGrom supporters that are like, the dude can do whatever he wants. He literally can do whatever he wants because he's been the most dominant pitcher the past 7 years. And we should pay him whatever he wants and overpay him and pay him for his past performances and all that. But doesn't it bother you a little bit that he's been so non-committal and on the fence? That has to occupy a part of your brain. It has to take up space in your brain that that he hasn't exactly been gushing about staying with the Mets and hasn't really exactly been instilling a lot of like positive affirmations about his time with the Mets. It just feels like he's opting out. I mean, he gritty, gutsy performance in his last outing, but The pitch to him has to be, dude, we're on the doorstep. We're knocking at the door of a World Series championship. We have the pieces in place. We got to figure out a couple of things. We got to tweak a couple of things, but we're right there. And if we're gonna win it, this is the time. And maybe someone has already said that to him before, maybe after the 2015 season. Who knows what Brody told him in 2018 to sign him to the extension? But like, dude, are you gonna go to the friggin' Braves? Honestly, if he goes to the Braves, he's a friggin' enemy, isn't he? He's got to be a enemy number one, and that's been the rumors that he's going to go to the Braves, and it's just like literally he can go to just about any other team outside of the Phillies. I'd say even if he went to the Nats, I'd be like, all right, fine, whatever. But Phillies or Braves, if he goes to one of those teams, it's like you're dead. You're dead. Appreciate what you did, but you're dead. So I can understand why he's not popular. It's because. But that's just the guy he is, really. He's just super like chill, relaxed, and even keeled. But it would be nice to show that he wants to stick around and build a legacy. I mean, honestly, sign your last contract. Be like, how old is he now? 34? Something like that. Like, be like, all right, sign me for. I play out the rest of my career with the Mets and just throw a ton of money at me and I know for a fact that I'm getting my jersey retired. I'm getting a bust. I'm getting a statue. I'm getting this. I'm getting that. I'm getting like, you get a license for the rest of your life to profit off of that versus I sign somewhere else and maybe win. And it's like, you lose that luster. You lose that standing and that positioning in Mets lore and Mets history. Isn't that not what it's all about? Legacy. Yeah. So that's my pitch. Take it or leave it. I don't really like to talk about the Yankees. I think it's weird the fascination that Mets fans have about those Mets fans that have that fascination with the Yankees and like revel in their losses and them losing. It's like, would I prefer that they don't win the World Series? Yeah, of course. But like the level of vitriol and hatred towards the Yankees and the Yankees fans, whatever, dude. It's just not in my jurisdiction. I pay it no mind. There's talk now about, well, if Brian Cashman, his contract is expired, should the Mets pursue him? Carter and Roberts spent most of their broadcast talking about how in the same breath, like giving us reason after reason after reason why Cashman should not be retained and shouldn't be signed by the Yankees, because it's because of him and the teams that he's constructed that they've had the lack of success in the postseason and haven't been able to appear in a World Series, right? Because that was a big note by Evan was 15 Major League Baseball teams have gone to the World Series since the Yankees have gone to the World Series in 2009. And, you know, as a Yankees fan, that's got to hurt and you got to feel like that's a hump you have to get over. And you're probably not going to get to it with Brian Cashman making the decision. Like, a pretty lengthy argument against Brian Cashman returning to the Yankees, and then immediately turning around and being like, but the Mets should sign him to be the president of baseball operations. It's like, and then someone posted a poll on Twitter, like, should the Mets sign Brian Cashman as president baseball operations, director of baseball operations? And like 60-70% said no, and people were like shocked. And it's like, sure, part of it's recency bias, but in the same time, you just like, would it be cool if the Mets went to the postseason every season? Yeah, that would be cool. But then they never go to the World Series? Well, that's not cool. So it's like, can he build a World Series team? I don't know. Can Buck Showalter manage a World Series team? Well, I don't know. So those are the things that go through my mind. It's like, Epler's your GM. Maybe he's worked with Cashman before, so I guess that's a notch in the pro column if you're doing pros versus cons. But it's kind of like, you just mentioned all these reasons why we shouldn't sign him because of the teams and the rosters that he's constructed. And those are his responsibility. And if he's taking responsibility for that, then it shows a track record or proven track record of not being able to get to that next level. It's like, yeah, you've constructed a team that can win in the regular season and make the playoffs, but you have not constructed a team that has that the ability to win when it matters most. So that's why it's a no for me, dog. But I'm not going to like get pissed if they do sign him. I'll be like, all right, well, maybe, you know, second chances, new venue, new you. I don't know. You know, I'd be willing to support him, but it's like, you sure there's nothing else out there? Let's just take a little look around, like maybe this or that. You know, I don't know. Yeah. So that's Mets talk again. So it's tough right now to be a Mets fan because it's, I think that black cloud from last season is going to hang over me for a long time. But with that, still a lot to look ahead for, a lot to live. You know, if you checked in with me 2 years ago, it'd be like, it's never getting better. But I think there's a lot to be positive about and a lot to look forward to. And I'm here for it. And I hope you're here for it too. So thank you for listening. And we'll check in with you next week. Adios, muchachos.